Jasmine had always loved the little things. The quiet hum of the air conditioner in her favorite store, the soft clink of hangers as she rifled through racks of clothing, the familiar smell of fresh cotton and new leather. At 16, she was at an age where style meant self-expression, and this store was her sanctuary, a place to explore who she was becoming. Today, the afternoon sun poured through the windows, bathing the aisles in warm light as Jasmine moved with calm assurance. She paused by the jacket section, running her fingers over the fabric, imagining herself stepping out with confidence, a reflection of the dreams she nurtured in her heart. The store was bustling but friendly. Customers chatted quietly, and employees moved efficiently but with smiles. Then, without warning, the atmosphere shifted. Karen, the store manager, appeared from the back room like a storm cloud. Her sharp eyes locked onto Jasmine, her jaw tightening as she strode forward with a purpose that sent a ripple of tension through the air. Customers nearby instinctively took a step back, sensing confrontation. Karen's voice cut through the hum like a whip. "You need to leave the store immediately." Jasmine blinked, startled. "I'm shopping. I didn't do anything wrong." Karen's gaze hardened. "This isn't a place for you." Confusion and hurt flickered across Jasmine's face. She took a steadying breath, forcing her voice to stay calm despite the rising anxiety in her chest. "Ma'am, I'm a customer. I have just as much right to be here as anyone else." Karen scoffed. "I'm the manager, and I'm telling you to go." The store seemed to freeze around them. Some shoppers paused to watch. A few whispered. Others pretended not to notice. Jasmine's eyes darted around, searching for an ally but finding none. Her hands curled into fists at her sides, the sting of the unjust accusation cutting deeper than she wanted to admit. "Please, I'm not leaving." Karen took a step closer, voice low and sharp. "You're causing problems. We don't want troublemakers here." The word troublemakers hung in the air, thick with unspoken meaning. Jasmine swallowed hard, the weight of prejudice pressing down on her shoulders like a physical force. Just then, the door chimed, and all eyes turned as a man entered. A tall figure in a tailored suit, his presence commanding yet composed. His sharp gaze swept the room, landing on Jasmine and then on Karen. Marcus Williams, Jasmine's father and CEO of the retail chain, had arrived. Karen's face paled as she recognized him. "Mr. Williams," she stammered, suddenly less certain. Marcus's voice was calm but carried the unmistakable authority of a man used to command. "What is happening here?" Karen struggled, her earlier confidence replaced by nervous hesitation. "I was just telling your daughter to leave. She—" Marcus's eyes locked on hers, icy and unwavering. "She is a customer, and you are the manager. Your job is to serve, not discriminate." Turning to Jasmine, Marcus's expression softened. "Are you all right?" Jasmine nodded, relief flooding her features. Marcus addressed the gathering crowd. "This behavior violates everything our company stands for: respect, equality, dignity. Such actions have no place in our stores." He then looked back at Karen. "Effective immediately. You are suspended pending a full investigation." As security escorted Karen away, murmurs of approval spread through the store. Jasmine's heart pounded, but she stood taller, empowered by her father's support. That day became a turning point, a moment where courage confronted bigotry and justice was visibly served. Social media buzzed with the story. Customers praised the company's stance, and Jasmine's strength became a beacon for many. As the door closed behind Karen, a heavy silence settled over the store. Jasmine could feel every pair of eyes on her. The curious, the shocked, the empathetic. Her heart was still racing, but something inside her shifted. The shame and fear that had begun to weigh her down moments ago were slowly replaced by a growing sense of pride. Her father's presence wasn't just about authority. It was a shield, a beacon of protection in a world that hadn't always been kind to her. Marcus smiled gently and took her hand. "Come on, let's get out of here for a bit." They walked toward the exit, the hum of whispered conversations following them like a soundtrack. Outside, the warm afternoon air felt like freedom after the suffocating tension inside. Jasmine glanced up at her dad. "Thanks for coming so fast. I didn't want to cause a scene." Marcus shook his head. "You didn't cause the scene, Jasmine. The scene was caused by injustice. You standing your ground was the right thing to do." She looked down, hesitating. "I was scared. I've never been treated like that before. Not like I was a problem just for being me." Marcus's eyes softened. "I know. That's why I'm here. To make sure no one else has to feel that way. Not in my company. Not anywhere." They stood for a moment in comfortable silence, the weight of what had happened settling in. Meanwhile, inside the store, murmurs of support were growing louder. Customers who had once averted their gaze were now speaking up, some approaching staff to demand changes, others pulling out their phones to capture the moment. A middle-aged woman whispered to her friend, "Can you believe someone could treat a child like that? It's disgusting." A young man shook his head. "Good thing her dad's the CEO. Imagine if no one stood up." Back outside, Marcus pulled out his phone and began typing a message. Within minutes, a statement went live on the company's official social media channels. "Our commitment to equality and respect is absolute. We do not tolerate discrimination in any form. Immediate action has been taken in today's incident at one of our stores. We thank our customers for standing with us." The post quickly gained traction, shared and commented on by thousands. Jasmine watched the screen, a small smile breaking through her tears. "Maybe things can change." Marcus squeezed her hand. "They will, but it takes all of us. Standing up, speaking out, refusing to accept less than respect." The day that started with pain ended with hope. A powerful reminder that courage and love can turn the tide against injustice. That evening, at home, Jasmine sat quietly in her room, the events replaying in her mind like a storm she couldn't shake. Her walls were covered in posters of her favorite musicians and inspirational quotes, symbols of the dreams she clung to, even on tough days. Her phone buzzed, a message from her best friend, Maya. "Saw what happened today. I'm so proud of you. You handled that like a queen." Jasmine smiled but sighed. "Thanks, Maya. It was scary. I never expected to be treated like a criminal just for shopping." Just then, her dad knocked softly and entered. He sat beside her on the bed, his demeanor warm but serious. "Jasmine," he began, "what you faced today, it's unfortunately not new. I've had to prepare you for moments like this since you were little." She looked up, her eyes searching his. "Why? Why do people treat us differently?" Marcus took a deep breath. "Because racism still lives in many hearts and systems. But every time you stand your ground, you chip away at that. You show the world that you won't be erased or ignored." Jasmine's voice cracked. "Sometimes I'm tired of fighting." He pulled her into a hug. "I know, sweetheart. That's why I'm here. To fight alongside you. And to use whatever power I have to make a real difference." They stayed like that, father and daughter, united not just by blood, but by the shared mission to break the cycle of prejudice. The next day, Marcus convened an emergency meeting with his executive team. He outlined a comprehensive plan: mandatory anti-bias training for all employees, a new anonymous reporting system for discrimination, and a public campaign celebrating diversity. "We're not just responding to one incident," Marcus told them firmly. "We're setting a new standard for the entire industry. Our customers and employees deserve nothing less." Word of the changes spread quickly. Local news picked up the story, interviewing Jasmine and Marcus. Viewers were moved by the real-life example of standing up to racism and the CEO's commitment to action. Back in the store, things weren't the same. Karen's suspension sparked a deeper conversation among staff. Some apologized to Jasmine when she returned to shop. Others expressed frustration at the toxic attitudes they had ignored. Jasmine felt a shift, not just in the store, but inside herself. She realized that change begins with a single voice refusing to be silenced. Weeks passed, but the ripple effect of that day in the store was still swelling. Jasmine found herself invited to speak at her school's assembly about her experience. Nervous but determined, she stood in front of her classmates and teachers. "I never thought standing up for myself would make such a difference," she said, her voice steady but heartfelt. "But it's important we all recognize when something isn't right and do something about it. No one should be made to feel less because of who they are." Her classmates listened quietly, some nodding in understanding. A few whispered apologies for times they had looked the other way or said something hurtful. Back at the store, Marcus's reforms were in full swing. Anti-bias workshops were mandatory, and a new diversity council was formed, with Jasmine invited to be a youth advisor. Karen, meanwhile, faced more than just suspension. The investigation uncovered a pattern of discriminatory behavior in her management style. She was eventually terminated, with a public statement issued by the company emphasizing zero tolerance for racism. The company also partnered with local community organizations to host forums on race, inclusion, and allyship, fostering conversations that had long been overdue. One afternoon, Jasmine sat with Marcus in a cozy cafe near the corporate offices. She looked up at her dad and smiled. "I never realized how much work it takes to change things," she admitted. "But I want to help. I want to make sure no one else has to go through what I did." Marcus's eyes shone with pride. "You're stronger than you think, and this is just the beginning." Outside, the city buzzed with life. A city slowly waking up to the power of standing against injustice. Jasmine's story became a beacon, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, courage and love could light the way. Months later, Jasmine walked into the same store, but this time something was different. The air felt lighter, the smiles warmer, and the atmosphere more inclusive. Posters adorned the walls, celebrating diversity with faces of all ages and backgrounds. Jasmine noticed a new customer bill of rights posted near the entrance, promising respect, fairness, and dignity for everyone who walked through the doors. She approached the checkout, where a young employee greeted her with genuine warmth. "Welcome back, Jasmine. It's good to see you." Jasmine smiled. "It's good to be back." Her phone buzzed. A notification from the company's app announced a scholarship program for young leaders dedicated to social justice, one she was nominated for by Marcus himself. Her heart swelled with hope. This was more than just a victory in one store. It was a movement, one sparked by courage, sustained by commitment, and fueled by a community unwilling to accept anything less than equality. Later that day, Jasmine stood on a stage at a City Hall event, addressing a crowd of hundreds. "We all have a role to play," she said. No matter how small it feels, our voices matter. When we stand together, we can change the world. One store, one school, one person at a time. The audience erupted in applause. As Jasmine looked out over the crowd, she thought about Karen, about the fear she'd felt, and about the power of standing tall. Her journey wasn't over, but the path was clear. Because sometimes it only takes one moment, one voice, to start a revolution of respect. Years later, Jasmine stood before a new generation of young leaders at a national youth conference. Now a confident young woman, her journey had shaped her into a passionate advocate for equality and justice. "Every time someone tells you you don't belong," Jasmine said, her voice steady and strong, "remember my story. Remember that no one has the right to decide your worth, except you. And when you stand up, even if you're scared, you change the world." In the audience, faces lit with hope and determination. Some held tears, others clenched fists, all ready to carry the torch forward. Backstage, Marcus watched proudly, knowing his daughter's courage had sparked a movement far beyond a single store. Scholarships named after Jasmine helped countless young people pursue their dreams. The company she once shopped in became a leader in corporate diversity, setting a standard admired worldwide. Jasmine's work extended beyond speeches. She helped develop programs in schools and communities, empowering others to share their stories and stand firm. Her message was clear: change begins with a single step, and everyone's voice counts. As the conference ended, Jasmine stepped outside into the sunlight, her heart full. The road ahead was still long, but she knew one thing for sure: the fight for justice was a fight worth having. Because when one person dares to stand, many will follow.